Good, here we go. So number one, this session is being recorded. We do this so that more people, the ones who couldn't join the session on the day, can have access to this information later and can benefit from all the material that we get to discuss here. Also, remember to keep your microphones muted as much as possible. This is going to help us have a very neat presentation. Do not leave the session today without completing the attendance form. We usually share it after the breakout rooms, and once we take the pictures or before we take the pictures, we share the attendance form. It's really important for us to know what you think about our sessions. Also, I told you before, this is the end of the webinar sessions series. So we're closing module 2 of Teachers Up Initiative webinars. It means that very soon you will be receiving your e-certificate, but you must complete the attendance form because that's where we get the information from in order to issue e-certificates. All right, so I kind of gave you a broad introduction of the session today. I just want to mention that as English teachers, once again, we have the power of changing or shaping our future generations of professionals. And it is a great responsibility. And we all have a role to play over there. And as English teachers, we have the possibility to get very close to our future professionals and to help them develop critical thinking skills so that they get a better understanding of global society. And in order to see a little bit more about what to do, how do I get started, we have 3 speakers today. First one is a friend of the initiative, Kenni Sermeño. Kenni is a passionate professional with more than 10 years of experience teaching in the FL teaching. During her career growth, she has been able to work for different institutions where she has taught English as a foreign language and English for specific purposes. She has the opportunity of working with students. She had the opportunity of working with students of different proficiency levels, backgrounds, and ages. She has a very broad experience in language teaching as well as teacher training. She holds a bachelor's degree in applied linguistics from Centro Cultural. Um, she has been, or she is currently working as an academic consultant for Macmillan El Salvador. And in her career as a teacher trainer and teacher, she has impacted positively to more than 1,000 individuals. You can read a little bit more about her in her bio. And I know that some of you already know her. So thank you, Kenni.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.
Second, somebody that has been very popular in the last days. For those of you following the social media of the U.S. Embassy, I am pretty sure you have seen this face somewhere over there. Eliseo Rivas is our second panelist today. He holds a bachelor's degree in applied linguistics from the Instituto Centro Cultural and a postgraduate degree in project design and evaluation from Universidad de El Salvador. He has over 10 years of experience teaching English in numerous private institutions and more than 3 years implementing, managing, and evaluating social impact projects, which is what we're talking about today. Eliseo has been awarded different scholarships in El Salvador and in the United States, which have helped him have a broader view of education and social development. He's the founder and the director of Cascarita and Cascaron, and currently working as an English language teacher representative for Macmillan Education Central America and Colombia. Eliseo, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and hello, everybody. Yeah, so excited to be here.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have a really close friend of the Teachers Up Initiative. Maira Ramírez has been helping us very much from her position at SN. Maira holds a bachelor's degree in modern languages and a master's degree in educational policies and evaluation. She has worked in different higher education institutions such as Universidad de El Salvador, UGB, Don Bosco University, SEN, and other foundations, academies, and schools. She has also collaborated with the Ministry of Education, training teachers from the updated national English programs. Furthermore, she collaborated with Teachers Up initiative as one of the first English component instructors. She recently completed a training in community project in South Africa and is currently developing her own English educational project. So once again, you see that she's got a lot of experience in his area. Maida, thank you so much for being here.
No, thank you, Video. And it's so nice to see some familiar names here in Teachers App. So thank you for this opportunity, and we're gonna get to share some experiences with you. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right, so this is how the panel will go on. Right now, each of the panelists will have 9 minutes to share their experiences in projects that has impacted our society. They will be sharing with us ideas on how to get started, what to consider, what steps to give in order to have a successful project. So I will stop my presentation right here, and I want to welcome our first panelist today, which is Kenni Sermeño. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ovidio. I hope you all can hear me well and see me well, right? You can, show me your thumbs up there to make sure we all, are on the same path. So I'm starting to share here my slide. Hope you see it, right? So I'm really glad to be here. It's very nice opportunity to be now part of the panelists or to be one of those speakers in this session. It's my pleasure. And I think this topic that you have, put into the webinar in, the Teachers App team is so important, right? Sometimes teachers, we tend to omit a few things because we know it's going to take some time of our planning and things like that. So it's crucial for us to know how to do it or to take advantage of things that are interesting or interested, as part of our students' hobbies or ideas. So one of the things that I want you to start thinking is this phrase that I just put on the slide. So I want to see if you are on the same track, if you have thought of it, and I would like to see some reactions here in the webinar. Are you empowering your students to shape their future? Let's see the thumb up over there in the reactions or the hearts like Ovidio is showing here. Are we empowering our students? How are we empowering them? Are we working on actual projects like, our partners are going to share also today, or are we just motivating them? So I'm going to talk about a few ideas that are important in this, topics or surrounding this topic, as you will also hear from Eliseo and Maira. And I want you to think as, you heard from a video and you have probably some ideas as well. How can we do it? How can we help our students to feel motivated, to feel empowered? Like, why do we need to think about how responsible we are? I think Ovidio also mentioned how we shape their futures, how we motivate our students, and how they can do it so far, within their communities. So these are a few things that I want you to keep in mind. What, where, how, when, okay? It's not just the teacher being involved. It's not just the student being involved. It's not just the language, which is part of the, elements, that are important in these ideas, right? So I want you to make your questions or comments in the chat as well to make sure you're following me. So in order to get started, I want you to think about these, ideas that I put on the slide on how we are important, not only in the classroom, but also in our communities and after that, or being connected to the world as well. So you can see that we are always changing, right? Not only personally, not only the community, not only the country, but around the world. Now, I think it's not a secret. I think you probably know the situation here in our neighbors in Guatemala. You may also know about the situation in Israel. So we are actually connected. How are we connected? How can we impact people not only in our surroundings, but around the world? So things such as a social project that Maira and Eliseo will be sharing, because they are, implementing them as well, are part of these situations that we can help the society to get along with. We all, and also a video I think mentioned, we are all important, not only as teachers. We are important as humans, and we have to help our students to think about it. How can we protect the earth? How can we protect our people, our family? Like if we start thinking about the people that we have and that we live in the same house, right? How are we doing it? So I want you to think about that first idea. And that is, I think, one of the reasons in the most important parts to think of. And that takes me to a concept that nowadays in education is very important. I think that maybe you have heard it, and I want to see if not, what is global citizenship? Have you, let me see the chat over here, have you heard of this concept? Global citizenship. Why are we talking about diversity, equity, inclusion? Let me see your thumbs up again if you have heard of it, or if you have not, put it in the chat box. No idea. I have no idea what those topics are, what those concepts are. Where does this come from, right? You have? Right, feeling part of one world, as Macario is saying. Thank you very much for your answers, for your response, right? We have to help our students to be aware that, as we're saying here on the slide, we are all connected. Whatever we do within our family, within our community, within our classroom, within our school is going to impact others. We see it in movies, and it's actually part of the real world, right? It's also important. So this is connected to something that also I mentioned, diversity, equity, and inclusion. How do we, realize that our students are different? How do they realize they are all different in the same classroom? How can they all include the people who are different in their communities? And we're talking, as you can see here on the pictures, not only about, colors, right? We have people here. Thank you. Exactly. We have to be more mindful, and we have to promote culture. What do we teach in English classes? Not only grammar and vocabulary, right? We teach culture, and it's important for us. Yeah, Macari, I really like that comment. We have to keep in mind that we are, working with people, and we are in this world to be part of a big community, right? So this is connected, that these topics that I'm mentioning are connected to something that is also, sounding in UNESCO. It has also been sounding in, countries and the Agenda 2030, if you have heard of it as well, right? The Sustainable Development Goals that were adopted by the United Nations in 2015. So what are we talking about here? People, the planet, prosperity, peace, partnership. What is Teachers Up doing here, right? Helping teachers who need those opportunities. What is Maira and Eliseo doing? And you will hear, helping students to help others, to help themselves, and then to help the rest of their communities. Totally agree, you say. Yeah, thank you. So these topics, as I'm saying, education, global citizenship, inclusion, we're talking about how different we are. And that means that we have different hobbies, we have different passions. I may like to write poems, Eliseo may like to write, I don't know, rap lyrics, right? And those are different talents that we need, that we have, and that we can put into, the service of others. talking about English, how do we help our students in the class? You know, we're always planning, like the girl here in the picture, she looks more like an architect, like than a teacher, but we're always doing plans, right? We're always, you know, trying to integrate new things, technologies, things that are going to be interesting for our students. So these are all important aspects that we have to consider. I'm not telling you today a guide or a checklist that you can say, okay, I'm going to do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. Every community, every classroom, every teacher is different. So I'm just giving you a couple of ideas that you may already have in your minds that are going to help you like get things into, you know, practice. Let me see some things here in the chat if I'm not missing. Exactly. Going beyond teacher as teaching, as Macario is saying, we all are unique in our ways and diverse, which is beautiful. You see, I'm curly and Maira is not, right? It's part of diversity as well. So why is this important for us, our students too? First of all, because we have to consider their interests, their hobbies. I'm giving you the example. I like English. Maybe my partner prefers math in the class, right? And he gets better grades in math than the ones I get here in English because I love it, right? So we have to keep in mind that our students need to develop different skills. I think also Ovidio was mentioning that we need, for example, to help our students develop, let me move my cameras here. We need to help our students develop critical thinking skills. When we're teaching English, we're not just teaching, as I mentioned, vocabulary and grammar. And sometimes teachers, we are still working that hard on only those aspects, vocabulary and grammar. So why not considering that our students need to know how to communicate their ideas, their needs, their passions, and those are part of the ideas that you could think of when implementing or trying to implement projects in the classroom. What do my students like? What do they have in common? What are their interests, right? That are going to help them develop values, attitudes, and social skills. It's not just going beyond because we're going to talk about K-pop that is popular nowadays and that comes from Asia. No, it's because we know that our students are going to be inspired and they are going to be interested as well, right? So social projects are to give students the opportunity to share their ideas, to share what they like, how they can think that this is going to help their, you know, partners, their classrooms, their communities. We can, you know, the most common things we can think of are like recycling, right? Which is a very, you know, popular project that happens not only in the schools, but also in their communities, right? Recycling. Sorry, I don't know if it's a video telling me that it's my time up or if somebody else's. Okay, but you know, so far
Sorry,
so
no,
good.
yeah, we had somebody
Yes.
just joining.
Okay.
Yeah, you still have a couple of
It's
seconds
still
there.
okay. Thank you, Vivian. So that's my point so far, as I was saying. It's not just telling you, okay, you should, you know, see this checklist and do 1, 2, 3 in order to implement a project. It's as simple as knowing what our students need for future purposes, right? Like academic or a professional purposes, as well as developing, you know, thinking skills or critical thinking skills. We know that recycling is going to be good for our future, not only for the country, not only for my house, because I will not, you know, get all this garbage within my house, but this is going to help and impact my community. We can do very simple things by having students to group the ones that like this specific thing, the ones that like recycling, the ones that like music, and how those things in the class will help them feel more confident, more comfortable, and in order to also develop English within the class that we have with them. I don't know if
We
Ovidio we
we're
still have time.
we're just fine, Kenny. Thank you so much for introducing this wonderful topic.
Thank you.
I- I mean, if I have to point out a couple of aspects from your presentation, I will, bring this concept of diversity and students being diverse in the class doesn't have to do just with colors, but the way they think. So, thank you once again for
Yes.
your wonderful introduction to the topic. Now
Thank you.
yeah, now we have Eliseo, and he will keep the presentation going. Parenthesis, if you have any questions, you can leave them there in the chat, and we will transmit those ideas or those questions to our speakers today. Eliseo.
Thank you very much, Ovidio. Thank you, Kenny, for introducing this very important topic. As you mentioned, we'll keep on talking about the social projects we're already implementing. You have given us like the recipe. Now we're going to see what the final products are on implementing social impact projects. Before I start, I would like to go ahead and share one of my favorite quotes in implementing projects I have found along the way. And this is by Bobby Unser. He was a Formula driver. And he says that success is where preparation and opportunity meet. So this is a very special quote, and I want you to have it in mind because later you're going to find the meaning of this with what I'm going to share with you. So once again, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Cascarita y Cascarón. I am the founder and director of this organization. So Cascarita y Cascarón is an organization that helps students and brings students from the countryside the opportunity to tell a different story through education. So going back to where this project originated, it's because I myself come from the countryside. And coming from the countryside, I faced different challenges. And for some reason, in the countryside, you have very limited options. But if you are given the opportunity, you can tell a different story. I had an opportunity, and that opportunity helped me tell a different story, be telling you this story. So that's what we're doing with the organization. We're bringing opportunities and we're preparing students so they can tell a different story, so they can be successful. So today I'm going to talk specifically about one project we're executing in Teotepeque, La Libertad. So this project is called Una Historia Diferente, which in English can be translated to a different story. So we are working on different things, and I'm going to focus exactly on the three core activities we're working on. So we first work on workshops in English, computing, and life skills. So every Saturday, students have the opportunity to learn a second language, which is aimed on tourism because of the location where we're developing the project, which is in the coast of La Libertad. And then computer skills, because now students have computers. And that was amazing to find in the countryside that all students have computers, laptop computers, but they didn't know how to use them properly. So we found out the way how to help them use them so they can become better students, better researchers, and in that way have a better opportunities for them. And then life skills. And this component, it was something that was not planned at the beginning, but I decided to implement it because that's something I faced a lot when I came to the city. Life skills are not developed enough in the countryside. So coming here and not having confidence, not knowing how to be a leader, not knowing how to work in teams, it's very difficult to fit in with students who have already developed this. So I decided to implement this component in the workshops because it has helped students see that they are capable of doing things. So that's a very important part that we have implemented. Then another component we're really working on is storytelling. Um, our slogan is telling a different story. So our main component is storytelling. So we invite professionals to come to the countryside, and those professionals who have had an opportunity, and that opportunity has led them to tell a different story. So they come and they inspire our students. And I didn't plan this. My idea at the beginning was just to inspire our high school students to see a different reality. But it turned out that they became a role model for our students. Now our students dream on becoming doctors. Now they dream on becoming engineers, English teachers, because of these professionals who have come to visit them and told them that once they were in the same spot, but they found an opportunity. And one more last thing we're working on is on unique experiences for our students. We do some field trips and volunteering activities. Um, Let me tell you about the field trip we did last time, couple of weeks ago, about 2 months ago, I think. We brought students from the countryside to the downtown of San Salvador in a museum. So this museum, probably you have visited before because, as children, we enjoy this museum, which is Tin Marin, but they never had this opportunity to come as children. So we decided to bring them as teenagers. Anyway, it can be enjoyed. and and to the downtown of San Salvador to learn a little bit more about their own country. We took them to the National Palace. Most of them have never been to the city before, so getting to experience that was very interesting because that gave them an idea that there is an outside world from their countryside and motivated them to be something else, that there's something else for them. And last weekend, we finished our volunteering activity. They have never had the experience on being on a volunteering activity. Probably they had never heard this word before. So we want also these students to have these experiences that somehow connect them to their communities. So these volunteering activities on recycling, it's very important in the countryside. They are not educated enough to handle these topics. So we had a professional to come and tell them how to recycle in a proper way. So they also were part of this volunteering activity. So they see a necessity in their community. So they don't have to go somewhere else to do a community project, but they can do it in their own community to help their families and their classmates as well. So let me show you a little bit of what we do. So these are the workshops we're working on. So we have volunteers from each of the components in life skills. They work a lot in teams, collaboration. We in English, we also expose them and put them in front of students with role plays, so they get to see how the language it's acquired and to have that confidence to be in front of others and to communicate in more effective ways. Then in computing, as you see, all students have their laptop computers and they can get involved in these activities that are so important, like creating their resume, for example. It was a very interesting experience for them to create their first resume. Now they have it in Spanish and they have it in English as well. It's been very rewarding. So this is the storytelling. So these are a few pictures of professionals that come to the school and they have shared their stories, how their perseverance, how their hard work has paid off, and now they're actually, telling a different story in different fields, and that has motivated them to have a role model, as I said, so they can be that person one day. And these are the experiences. As I told you, we went to the National Palace, right? We have students here, and Tin Marin, which is the exhibition they love the most, going on the airplane. and having this experience for them was very meaningful. Now, but there's some stages, right, that are very important to consider on implementing these projects. Planning, as I said at the beginning, sometimes in implementing social impact projects, not everything you plan is going to be executed, but as if you plan most of the things, you have more probabilities that in the developing stage, you're going to have more chances that all those things you planned are going to be more effective. So planning is very important. I think in this, you have to consider like small aspects, but put them into paper, put them, write them down so you don't forget them later. Then in the developing, of course, there are many things that probably are not going to be the way you want them to be. Probably you have to change and adapt some things because reality is different, because you have different perspectives, or because you identify other things in the process. But the developing process is very important. I think it's the most rewarding because you see exactly in the product of what you have planned before. And follow-up. It's very important because the next year you want to implement another project. Next 6 months you want to implement another project. You know what went well, you know what can be improved, and that way you learn in the process as well. Something I liked about Kenny's presentation was that we're unique. And she mentioned that we all do different things. We all learn, even though it's the same core program to one specific group, the experience is going to be so different in the next cohort of students. So it's because we are human beings and because we're different, we're special. So, but it's very important to have this on mind, right? Planning, developing, and a lot of follow-up. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for being here and for having that interest, right? For having that interest in learning in social impact projects. My message to you is, now if you have the motivation to start a social impact project, do it. You see that you're going to impact many lives, and then that's going to be like a ripple effect because those lives you impact are going to impact many others. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eliseo, for sharing and for accepting the invitation and for, inspiring us on how to get started. One of the things that I will recall from your presentation is the planning stage. Planning is a pre-thinking process. So over there is where you get to see how things will look like in reality. So if you can preview unexpected situations, it's very probable that you will be able to fix them in the way. And also the community service part. Most of our students don't know that by doing community service, they are opening up wonderful doors for other opportunities in the future. So thank you so much. Now we have Maira Ramírez. She will be talking about another project. I will just, I'm not sharing screen. So welcome, Maira. The floor is yours.
Thank you. I like this floor. Thank you, Kenny, and thank you, Eliseo. Well, before I start presenting, I have a question for all of you teachers, and I would like you to share your answers in the chat box, okay? Please tell me, how old were you when you decided to become a teacher? All of you. How old were you when you decided to become a teacher? Please, 22. Oh, good. Please just keep on commenting, and I would love to see your comments right there while I present. 17. Oh, 24. I see a lot of 26 years old, 16, 15, 35, 18, 10. Okay, there's a reason why I'm asking you about this. Since you were a child, that's great, Maria Jose. Okay, thank you. Before I tell you why I'm asking you this, and I would like to talk to you about this project, 1823. Thank you. And this is basically a newborn, I've been working with these kids since May this year, 2023. So I would love to talk to you about these beautiful kids. I don't call it my project because it's not mine, it's the community. So let me talk to you about Yo Voy English classes. And I will also tell you why it's called like that. I love Eliseo's name, Cascarita y Cascarón. When I heard it for the first time, it sounds like, I don't know, something like so nice. And now it makes sense, total sense. So this project is called Yo Voy because so many people want to do something. So many people want to start something in their communities, but maybe they don't have the time, the money, the means, or maybe the courage to do it. So, and then because I was like that before, and then I say, okay, if they don't want to go, I'll go. So that's why I call it Yo Voy in Spanish. So if people don't want to do it, but they want help, and I'll go for them. In the meantime, they decide to do something, right? Because today my presentation, it's about this, not just talking about these beautiful kids you will hear about. It's because I've been sent to give you a wake-up call, all of you teachers. So, well, welcome. This is the Yo Voy English classes. My name is Maira. And let me tell you about this small project, okay? So there's one main objective in these classes is, of course, teaching some English, you know. It's a very important language. So this is why we're here. This is why we have a job. And this is why Teachers App actually exists, right? Because English is really important, right? So this is the first thing I want to achieve with these kids, English classes, okay? Besides that, I will just link this with Kenny's presentation about community, citizenship, okay? So I want to model, as I also learn myself, model community and core values to these kids, okay? So it's a combination of English classes, community and core values. It's this kind of combination, right? So of course we get there and we try to learn English together, but we also need to create some atmosphere of community, you know, generosity, respect, tolerance, you know, inclusion. So this is also one of the main objectives of this project. Let me tell you a little bit about everything, okay? So we're working, and I say we because it's not only me working in this, and it's 10 kids, okay? The youngest, it's just 2 years old. She just recently decided to join the class, even she cannot speak yet, but she likes to be surrounded by the other kids. And who am I to say you're not old enough to come to the class, right? So 10 kids. And with this new acquisition, or with this new, you know, little girl, we are 11, 12, kind of, but officially we are 10 kids, okay? These 10 kids are spread in 5 different families, so it's a community, okay? You will be so surprised to see that there's no more than 2 blocks of the community. So they live literally in 2 blocks straight. So they live very tight, like 6, 7 people in one small room. So this is the way they live. So this is why there are 5 families and 10 kids representing these families, okay? All the community, it's about 20 people. So this is the community we're working in. And it's the Valdivieso community. It's in San Salvador. So we are in the center of the country, in the capital, okay? We're located right there. This is actually like 2 or 3 blocks down my place. So it's very close, it's very close. But this community has something very special, okay? That specific community, it's right in the limit of a drug dealing area and among bars and motels. So I think that you can imagine what kind of influence these kids have, okay? So it's a very small community, but they are right there with action happens, right? And I'm not meaning, but very good action to happen, right? So we gather every Saturday, 3 Saturdays a month, because I also want to start this, the value of giving yourself a break as a teacher and as a person, because my heart is telling me, go and meet every Saturday because the kids love you and you love the kids. But yeah, my body, my mind, my spirit needs a break from time to time. So I decided to keep it 3 Saturdays a month. And I'm telling you, teachers, you also need to take a break from time to time. It's necessary, it's mandatory. So we need to start learning, actually, to teach ourselves how to rest. how to take a break. So, you know, kids, because they live very close to me, sometimes they come and they knock on my door. Well, they call me Teresa. My middle name is Teresa. So they call me, it's Teresa right here. And my mom, yeah, she is, but she's taking a nap. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we don't have a class today. So they come and knock on the door looking for me. And it's, no, I must respect and I must give myself a break sometimes. It's not because I don't love them, but it's part of their education. Like to also, they have to learn. And in a very busy world, I think that we need to learn to rest from time to time. Okay, so what do we do every Saturday? Well, we learn English, core and community values, and there's a very specific emphasis in the value of community and education. Okay, so it's like, all right, you are only 6 houses in these 2 blocks, so we must start working and getting along because they don't. Okay, can you imagine a house with 5 people and those 5 people don't get along? That's a nightmare. Now, can you imagine just a small community surrounded by these kind of things and they are not getting along either? They are all separated, fighting their own battles. So it's very hard. So I'm really trying to make an emphasis in this value of community and especially in education. And I'm going to tell you why also. Okay, let me tell about the kids' background. All of them, the 10 kids, they're fatherless. All of them. By decision of the fathers, of course, or because they are dead or in prison. Okay. Sadly, this is the reality, not only my kids' reality. This is most of the kids in El Salvador. So none, and I'm not lying to you, none of them has a father. Okay, so they are surrounded by drugs, alcohol, suicide, and abuse. Okay, this is very sad because I kind of knew about the drugs and alcohol because they live in the limit of the drug dealing area. But the more you talk to their parents or to the moms, or the more you talk to them, you start realizing about things that break your heart, like immediately. It's like, yeah, they drink every day. My mom drinks every day. Okay, my uncle just suicide 2 years ago and I saw the body hanging. And this is like the reality for them. And they don't even cry when they tell. I think I cry the most when I hear these stories, but this is normal for them. And it's very sad. And don't get me started on the abuse situation. There are many things happening that I would like to be a good help, but right now I'm in the education, but there's a reason why, right? I'm there because maybe help will come. And this is when this happens when you start working with your community, not working for your community. You work with your community. You start realizing about the problems. And you know, this is going to be very fun because when this project started in my heart and in my mind, it was a question by someone who asked me, is there any need in your community? And I said, no, we're fine. Because I was talking from my place, okay? No, we're fine, we're okay. And then he said, okay, that is heaven or you don't even know your community? And it was like, yeah, I don't know my community. So I started to approach my community like more intentionally. And yeah, you realize that there's a lack of love, a lack of patience, a lack of everything. So this is the environment of these kids, okay? All of their parents, the ones who are alive or in prison, and their moms, all of them dropped out of school, all of them. This is amazing because one of the moms, she has 2 kids. And when I was doing my social work in the university in 2009, she was my student. She was a little girl and now she has 2 babies. So she was a teen mom. So it's just amazing how I see her now. And I remember her very well when she was my student in 4th grade when I was doing my social time. So this is fantastic. It's like, okay, now I'm working with your kids. All right. But she dropped out of school and she was very smart. She is very smart, actually. So all of their parents dropped out of school. Now, you can imagine that education for them is not important. It's not something they actually value because they dropped out of school. Okay, so kids are growing and seeing this. It's like, okay, yeah, my mom didn't study. My dad didn't either. So that was by choice or by force, you know, they had to step up and work because they had to, right? So all of these kids are being raised by moms and grandmas, okay? This is how I see, wow, how, like, what a power do we humans have, regardless of the gender. It's like, okay, this is what's the reality right now. I need to step up and work for these kids. Okay, so this is the reality of these kids. And I'm sharing this with you because maybe your community is suffering the same symptoms, is going through the same or even worse situations, okay? So it just takes one conversation with one of your kids or one of the moms or dads, and you will see that there's something happening. So in the midst of this, so we started this project. I'm a very visual person, so I'm just giving you a lot of photos so you can see all these kids, all right? Kids running, kids like playing, celebrating. And it's very funny because they are eager to attend their class every Saturday. They're so happy to do it. I have all these materials. You're not gonna believe how I get them all, how I still get all these materials. And that's what I want to share with you because it's gonna touch something in your heart and it's gonna say, I can also do it. I had nothing when I started in May, nothing. The first 2 weeks in May, it was just an idea and I just needed some courage to do things, right? So you see kids are playing, kids are walking to the place, okay, and like that. And even it's just been a couple of months, I will share with you what I consider great achievements with these kids. First one is when a video was reading my bio, let's call it like that. I studied in South Africa last year, and they actually encouraged me to start something in my community. So I participated in a fund grant, and I got it. So it's like, okay, I have no excuse to start this because I got it. It was just $100. So it was something, right? It's like, okay, I have no excuse to start. So that was the very first achievement. I got the seed capital grant from South Africa. Can you imagine, right? Okay, so all right. So this is something happening. So I just must obey, right? The second thing is, and I realized about this 2 weeks ago, communities, mothers support. I was really having a hard time trying to prepare the celebration for Children's Day 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have the money. So it's almost my time, right, Ovidio?
Yes.
Okay.
You
so
have time to close out the idea, yeah.
Yes. So as you can see here, basically it's the support of moms, of businesses around. I told you about the motel, so they are supporting this initiative as well. Okay, my bosses from the different universities, there's a reason why I wanted to mention all these places because all these people is helping me. Family, friends, former students, current students, okay? Kids love it and they are growing in tolerance, patience, and kindness to themselves and to the others, okay? And just to wrap up quickly, there's the wake-up call to you. A teacher inspired me to become a teacher when I was 9. When I was 30, 60 students gave my profession a purpose. At 35, an orphan boy reminded me the purpose I had somehow lost in the way. Now, I cannot see my life without being a woman, a person, a professional, a teacher who's called to walk with others, their journey to transform our lives. So teachers, there's always something to do in your communities. You just need to start and start talking to people. And if you're not ready, I think the Teachers app is giving you the tools to start something. So I think that we can continue video with the rest of the webinar.
Thank you so much for those inspiring words. Starting small, I think that's what I will recall from your presentation. Sometimes when we think of projects that will create an impact on the community, we think very big, but wonderful things start very small, and this is what we're seeing here. So thank you so much. We're going to go into breakout rooms for about 5 minutes, okay? And what I want you to discuss about, we'll just put it in the chat. This is the question. As a team, which one do you think is the greatest challenge that you will have to overcome when starting a social impact project? Once again, and I will be broadcasting this question once you're in a breakout room. So which challenges, what's the top one challenge that you think you need to overcome so that you start your own social project? I will send people into breakout rooms in just a minute. See if I find it here. Just give me a second. Here. I believe there will be like 5 people in each of the rooms, 5 to 6, 5 minutes, and I will take you back to the main room. Okay, you ready? Yes. All right, here we go. You should see on your screen a message inviting you to join one of the breakout rooms. Just go ahead, join it, and start a conversation. Once again, I will be sharing the question there in the chat. Once you get to the room, I will be just let me pause the record. I hope you had a wonderful time sharing ideas over there. I know, and this is the complaint that we always get, and it is that it's very short, the time that we have for the breakout rooms. But I think we have gained, as I said before, valuable information on how to start our projects back home. Right. We're about to close the session today. Before I share the attendance form, I want to present Kenni Sermeño with this certificate of appreciation. Thank you so much for accepting the invitation. Thank you so much for putting all this information together and for sharing. It has been very inspiring. So thank you, Kenni.
Thank you very much, Ovidio, for inviting me. Hope it's not the first time and the only one. Thank you.
I know it's not going to be the last time. Eliseo, also, we want to say thank you with this little certificate. We know that it's very little compared to all the effort you put into having the session together. So we really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ovidio, and thank you, Teachers Hub, for making this space possible.
And last but not least, we want to say thank you, Maira, for your support to the Teachers Up initiative. Thank you for accepting the challenge to be one of our speakers today. Thank you for helping us close this series of webinar sessions. It has been very inspiring, and please keep doing that wonderful job you're doing with those little kids.
No, the pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, reminders before you leave, I will be sharing the attendance form in just a few seconds. Remember that you need to complete it all so that we get your name ready for your e-certificates. This is the end of the webinar sessions. It means that in just few days, or couple of weeks, you will be receiving your e-certificate, but it really depends on the attendance and evaluation form. We get the names from that form, so please don't forget to complete it. Also, keep an eye on our social media for future events. We are about, well, not today, but in just the upcoming days, we will be announcing something wonderful. So keep an eye on our social media and also visit our website because there is packed with resources for you over there. All right. Just let me stop sharing screen and I will come back here. The attendance form. And while waiting for the attendance form, maybe Gerardo can help us with the pictures.
I will, yes. Let me just set everything up. In the meantime, everybody, if you can bring your cameras on, that would be really nice. See here. Yeah, let me move this here. I think I can see almost everybody. Okay. So I see more people bringing their cameras on. Good, good, good. Okay, give it a few seconds. And let me take one just with everybody. that has the camera on. Ready? Here we go. Smile.